If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Chapter 1, Prologue, The Eternal Question. Part 1, The Timeless Puzzle of Human Agency. A man stands at the edge of a great decision. His heart pounds, his mind races. Behind him stretch the choices of his parents, their parents, and countless generations before. Within him flow the rivers of his own past actions, good and bad. Around him press the voices of society, family, and circumstance. Before him lies a moment where he must choose. But can he truly choose? Or does some hidden force already know what he will do? This question has troubled human hearts since time began. When success comes, we feel proud. When failure strikes, we search for someone to blame. When guilt weighs heavy, we wonder if we could have acted differently. When pride swells, we ask if we truly deserve the credit. The mother watches her child struggle with the same anger that burned in her own youth. The merchant sees his son repeat the same mistakes he once made. The student finds herself drawn to paths her mind knows are wrong. Are we free beings making fresh choices, or are we prisoners of forces beyond our control? Modern thinkers speak of genes and environment. They study how our bodies and surroundings shape our actions. Some say we are machines following programs written in our blood and childhood. Others insist we can rise above these limits through pure will. Hindu wisdom does not run from this puzzle. It does not choose one simple answer. Instead, it weaves the question into a great teaching about how life works. It speaks of karma, the law that connects action and result. It tells of dharma, the right way to live. It describes rebirth, where souls carry forward the fruits of their choices. And it points toward moksha, the freedom that comes when we understand our deepest nature. In the sacred texts, we find warriors facing impossible battles, princes torn between duty and desire, and sages teaching students about the mystery of action itself. The Bhagavad Gita places this very question at its heart. The Mahabharata shows how destiny and choice dance together through countless lives and stories. This ancient tradition offers a vision both practical and profound. It acknowledges the weight of the past while keeping alive the possibility of transformation. It honors the power of circumstance while pointing toward an inner freedom that nothing can touch. Part 2. Hinduism's plural voices on fate and freedom. Hinduism offers not one voice but many voices speaking about fate and freedom. Like a great river with many streams, Hindu tradition flows through different schools of thought. Each school brings its own understanding of how karma works and how much choice we really have. The Vedanta school teaches that behind all action lies one unchanging truth. The Samkhya school explains how nature itself creates all movement and change. The yoga tradition shows practical ways to work with the mind and body. The Nyaya school uses logic and reasoning to understand cause and effect. Tantric paths explore how to transform desires and energies. Bhakti schools emphasize love and surrender to the divine. These different ways of thinking all wrestle with the same question. Are we free to choose our actions, or does everything happen because of past karma? Each school gives its own answer, but all recognize that both fate and freedom play important roles in human life. The great stories of Hinduism explore these themes through narrative and character. The Mahabharata shows heroes and villains making choices that shape their destiny. We see how past actions create present circumstances. Yet we also see how wisdom and courage can change the course of events. The Ramayana demonstrates how duty and righteousness guide action even in difficult times. The Bhagavad Gita addresses this question directly through the dialogue between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna faces a moral crisis on the battlefield. He must choose between his duty as a warrior and his desire to avoid violence. Krishna teaches him how to act without attachment to results. This teaching shows how we can be both bound by duty and free in spirit. The Upanishads reveal the philosophical foundation beneath these stories. They speak of an eternal self that remains untouched by action and change. This self witnesses all experience, but is not bound by it. Understanding this truth transforms how we relate to choice and consequence. Later commentaries and treatises develop these insights further. Great teachers like Shankara and Ramanuja wrote detailed explanations of how karma, dharma, and liberation work together. They showed how ancient wisdom applies to daily life and spiritual practice. This book brings together these many voices into one clear story. We will see how genetics relates to the concept of inherited tendencies called samskaras. We will explore how environment connects to the idea of circumstances shaped by past karma. We will understand how free will operates within the larger pattern of cosmic law. The synthesis does not flatten these different perspectives into one simple answer. Instead, it shows how they complement each other, like instruments in a musical composition. Each voice adds depth and richness to our understanding of human agency and spiritual freedom. Part 3. From Western Categories to Hindu Questions. From Western Categories to Hindu Questions. When people today ask whether we are truly free, they usually think in three main parts. First comes genetics, the traits we inherit from our parents through our bodies. Second comes environment, the family, culture, and surroundings that shape us as we grow. Third comes free choice, our ability to decide and act on our own. These three categories seem clear and complete. Scientists study our teens to see what behaviors they might cause. Psychologists examine how childhood and society influence our minds. Philosophers debate whether real choice exists or if everything follows from biology and background. But Hindu wisdom uses different categories that do not match these Western ideas exactly. Where modern thought sees genetics, Hindu philosophy sees deeper patterns. It speaks of tendencies called Vasanas that travel with the soul from life to life. These are not just physical traits, but mental and spiritual habits that shape how we see and respond to the world. Where modern thought sees environment, Hindu teaching sees the results of past karma. Our circumstances are not random. They arise from actions we performed in this life and previous lives. The family we are born into, the challenges we face, the opportunities we receive, all reflect the working out of cosmic justice. Where modern thought sees free choice, Hindu philosophy sees something more complex. It recognizes the power of the deeper self called Atman. This true self stands beyond both inherited tendencies and outer circumstances. But it also acknowledges the three Gunas, the basic forces of nature that influence all created things. The concept of Prakriti, or primal nature, includes what we might call genetics, but extends much further. It encompasses the entire web of cause and effect that binds us to repeated birth and death. Hindu understanding does not reject the importance of body, upbringing, and personal choice. Instead, it places these within a much larger story of the soul's journey through many lifetimes toward final freedom. Part 4. Why this story matters for the reader. You may feel stuck by the family you were born into. Your parents' anger lives in your blood. Their fears speak through your voice. Their old wounds still hurt in your chest. You look in the mirror and see their faces. You act in ways that feel beyond your control. The same patterns repeat again and again. Or perhaps you feel trapped by your body. Some people seem naturally happy while you struggle with sadness. Others learn easily while you fight for every small gain. Your mind feels cloudy when you need it sharp. Your energy runs low when others seem strong. You wonder if you drew the short stick in life's lottery. Maybe old mistakes haunt you. One wrong choice led to 10 more. A moment of weakness changed everything. Years have passed, but the results still shape your days. You carry guilt that feels too heavy to lift. Part of you wants to try again. Another part whispers that some things cannot be undone. These feelings are not weakness. They point to the deepest questions humans face. How much can we really change? When should we fight and when should we accept? Are we victims of forces beyond our power or masters of our fate? How do we take responsibility without drowning in blame? Hindu wisdom does not offer quick answers to these struggles. Instead, it provides a map for the long journey through them. This ancient path shows how to work with your given nature instead of fighting it endlessly. It teaches when effort helps and when surrender serves better. It explains how actions plant seeds that grow across lifetimes, while also showing the freedom that lies beneath all action. This is not just philosophy to think about. This is a way to live when life feels impossible. The journey begins with understanding what binds you. It moves through patient work to change what can be changed. It ends in a peace that includes both your limitations and your vast potential. Every person who has ever felt trapped can walk this road toward greater freedom. Chapter 2: The Cosmic Architecture of Action. Part 1: Prakriti and the Three Gunas as the Inner Blueprint. The wise ones tell us that all creation springs from one great source called Prakriti. This is the first matter from which everything comes. It is not something we can see or touch, but it is the mother of all things that exist. From this Prakriti flow three basic forces called Gunas. These three forces are like colors that paint everything in creation. The first is Sattva, which brings light, peace, and clarity. The second is Rajas, which brings movement, passion, and action. The third is Tamas, which brings darkness, heaviness, and rest. Every person, every animal, every plant, and every star carries all three gunas within them. But each being has a different mix. Some people have more sattva and feel naturally calm and wise. Others have more rajas and feel driven to act and achieve. Still others have more tamas and feel pulled toward comfort and sleep. These gunas shape how we think and what we want. A person with strong sattva thinks clearly and seeks truth. A person with strong rajas cannot sit still and always wants to do something. A person with strong tamas feels tired easily and prefers things to stay the same. This mix of gunas in each person comes from Prakriti itself. It is not just what our parents gave us in our body. It is deeper than that. It is the cosmic pattern that was set when our soul first took form. The gunas work like invisible hands that guide our choices. When sattva is strong, we choose wisdom. When rajas is strong, we choose action. When tamas is strong, we choose ease. Yet we do not always see these forces working in us. We think our thoughts are completely our own. This guna pattern in each person shapes their nature from birth. It influences what makes them happy, what makes them angry, and what they fear. It is like an inner blueprint that was drawn before they were born. Part 2: Atman descends, consciousness embodied in a conditioned vehicle. Within each person lives the Atman, the true self that never changes. This Atman is pure consciousness itself. It is always free, always bright, always perfect. It has no birth and no death. It does not age or become sick. It feels no pain and no fear. The Atman is who you really are, beneath all the thoughts and feelings that come and go. But this pure self does not live alone. When the time comes for a new life, the Atman enters into a body and mind. This is like a bright light moving into a colored glass house. The light itself stays pure, but now it must shine through walls that change its appearance. The body and mind that receive the Atman are not blank. They already carry the patterns of the three gunas from before. They hold the weight of karma from actions done in past lives. They have tendencies and habits already built into them. This creates a strange situation. The free and perfect Atman must now work through tools that are not free at all. When you feel angry, it is not the Atman that feels anger. When you feel afraid, it is not the Atman that fears. These emotions belong to the mind and body, but the Atman is so close to these experiences that it seems to take them on. It is like a person looking into a moving river. They might think they are moving, but really only the water moves. This confusion happens because of ignorance called avidya. This ignorance makes the Atman forget its true nature. It starts to think it is the body. It starts to think it is the mind with all its worries and desires. The free consciousness begins to feel trapped by the very vehicle it rides in. This is why we feel torn between different forces inside us. Part of us knows we are free to choose, but part of us feels pushed around by habits, fears, and desires we cannot control. The Atman knows it is free, but the mind and body follow their old patterns like water flowing downhill. Part 3. Samskaras and Vasanas, the imprints of countless lives. Samskaras and Vasanas, the imprints of countless lives. Every action we take leaves a mark. Every thought we think creates a small groove in the mind. These marks and grooves are called samskaras. They are like footprints in the sand of consciousness that do not wash away easily. When you walk the same path many times, it becomes a clear trail. When you think the same thoughts over and over, they become automatic. When you act in the same way again and again, it feels natural to keep doing it. This is how samskaras work. They are the deep impressions left by repeated experiences. But there is something deeper than samskaras. These are called vasanas. Vasanas are like seeds sleeping in the ground of the mind. They are subtle desires and tendencies that wait for the right moment to grow. A vasana might stay quiet for years, then suddenly push you toward some action or feeling when the conditions are right. Think of a person who gets angry very quickly. This quick anger did not appear from nowhere. It grew from many past moments of anger. Each time anger arose, it left a samskara. Over time, these impressions built up into a vasana, a hidden tendency to become angry. Now anger feels like second nature to this person. The same happens with all our patterns. Some people naturally feel peaceful. Others feel restless. Some are drawn to learning. Others prefer action. These are not accidents. They come from countless experiences across many lifetimes that have built up layers of impressions and tendencies. This is why children in the same family can be so different. They carry different bundles of samskaras and vasanas from their past lives. What looks like genetic inheritance or early conditioning might actually be the soul expressing its accumulated patterns from before birth. The mind becomes like a river flowing in channels carved by these old impressions. The water wants to flow where it has flowed before. Breaking free from these automatic patterns becomes the great challenge for anyone seeking true freedom. Part 4. Sanchita Karma, the vast storehouse of possibility. The storehouse called Sanchita Karma holds all the seeds of action you have planted across countless lifetimes. Every choice you made, every thought you thought, every deed you performed, all of these created tiny seeds that wait in this vast warehouse of your soul. Think of this storehouse as a huge barn filled with millions of different seeds. Some seeds will grow into pleasant experiences. Others will bring difficult times. Some seeds are ready to sprout quickly. Others may wait for many lifetimes before the right conditions appear for them to grow. This collection explains why people are born into such different circumstances. One child enters the world in comfort and ease. Another faces hardship from the very beginning. One person seems naturally gifted at music. Another struggles to carry a simple tune. These differences do not happen by chance or accident. The storehouse of Sanchita Karma shows that your current life conditions flow from choices you made long ago. The wealthy person earned their comfort through past generous actions. The poor person created their poverty through past selfish deeds. The musical genius developed their talent through lifetimes of practice and devotion to beauty. This vast collection of karmic seeds connects your distant past to your present moment. Your soul carries forward the results of every decision across time. Nothing gets lost. No action disappears without effect. the storehouse remains mostly hidden from ordinary awareness. You cannot see all the seeds waiting there, but their power shapes your current personality, your natural talents, your automatic reactions, and the basic framework of your life circumstances. This accumulated karma from the past creates the starting point for your present lifetime. It sets the stage upon which your current choices will play out. Part 5. Fate as Self-Created Ruler. Reframing Determinism. Now your past actions have become your present ruler. Every feeling of being trapped or pushed around by fate is really you meeting your own old decisions. When life feels hard or unfair, you are facing the results of choices you made long ago. This changes everything about how you see your troubles. Most people feel like victims of bad luck or cruel circumstances. They think outside forces control their life. They blame their parents, their country, their genes, or their stars. They feel helpless against powers beyond their control. This creates anger, sadness, and fear. They fight against what seems unfair. But Hindu teaching says something different. Your current problems come from your own past will. The difficult marriage you cannot escape was created by how you treated others in past relationships. The poverty that limits you now flows from how you used wealth before. The illness that weakens your body connects to how you harmed other bodies in previous lives. This is not punishment from an angry God. This is simply how actions work. Every choice creates results. Those results must appear somewhere in time. When they appear in your present life, you call it destiny or fate. But really, you are meeting your own ancient decisions. This knowledge transforms your relationship with hardship. Instead of feeling like a victim, you recognize yourself as the author of your circumstances. Your suffering becomes your teacher instead of your enemy. Your limitations become reminders of your past choices instead of proof of cosmic cruelty. Yet this creates a deep puzzle. If your personality, circumstances, and automatic reactions all come from past karma and your basic nature, where does real choice happen? If your present self was largely shaped by previous decisions, how can you truly choose differently now? Where does freedom enter this web of causes flowing from your own past? The ancient texts point to a narrow doorway where authentic choice still lives, even within this network of self-created destiny. Chapter 3. The Three Rivers of Karma. Part 1. Prarabdha Karma, the arrow already in flight. From the great storehouse of past actions, only certain seeds are chosen to grow in this lifetime. This chosen portion is called Prarabdha Karma. Think of a skilled archer who has already released an arrow from his bow. Once the arrow flies through the air, no one can change its path or stop it from reaching its target. In the same way, Prarabdha Karma is like an arrow already in flight. This flying arrow decides the basic conditions of your birth. It chooses which family you were born into, what kind of body you receive, whether you start life healthy or weak, and whether you are born into wealth or poverty. These starting points are already fixed before you take your first breath. The sacred texts teach us that even the wisest souls who have found complete peace must still experience their Prarabdha Karma. A great sage may have perfect wisdom, but his body will still age and die according to the karma already set in motion. He cannot escape the basic conditions that were chosen for this lifetime. This is why two children born in the same hospital on the same day can have such different lives. One may be born to loving parents with good health, while another faces hardship from the very beginning. This is not unfair or random. Each soul receives exactly what matches the karma from their past actions. But Prarabdha Karma only sets the stage. It gives you the starting conditions, like the ground where a plant must grow. Within these given conditions, you still have the power to choose how you respond. A person born into poverty can choose to be honest or dishonest. Someone born with good health can use it for helping others or for selfish purposes. The arrow is already flying, but how you meet it when it arrives is still your choice. Part 2. Kriyamana and Agami Karma, the power of present doing. Kriyamana and Agami Karma, the power of present doing. While Prarabdha karma flows from the past into your present life, there's another kind of karma happening right now. This is called Kriyamana karma. It means the actions you are doing at this very moment. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every deed you perform, all of this is Kriyamana karma. When you choose to speak kindly to someone who is angry with you, that is Kriyamana karma. When you decide to help a person in need or turn away from them, that is Kriyamana karma. When you feel jealous and act on it, or when you feel grateful and express it, both are Kriyamana karma. These present actions do not disappear into nothing. They create Agami karma. Agami means that which is coming. Every action you do right now plants a seed for your future. These seeds will grow into the experiences you will have later in this life or in future lives. Think of it this way. Your past actions gave you the field where you now stand, but you are not just standing there doing nothing. You are actively planting new seeds in this field. Some seeds will grow quickly and give fruit in this lifetime. Others will wait and grow in future lifetimes. This is where your real power lies. You cannot change the Prarabdha karma that is already bearing fruit in your life right now. The arrow has already been shot and is flying toward you. But you can choose how to act right now. You can choose what new arrows to shoot. If someone treats you badly because of their own past karma, you still choose how to respond. Will you respond with anger and plant seeds of anger for your future? Or will you respond with patience and plant seeds of peace? The choice is always yours in the present moment. Every single moment offers this power. When you wake up in the morning, you choose your first thoughts. When you meet people during the day, you choose your words and actions. When challenges come, you choose your responses. All of these choices are creating your future karma. This means the future is not fixed. Yes, some things are already decided by your past actions, but much is still open. Your present choices are constantly writing new chapters in your soul story. The wise person understands this power of the present moment. They know that while they cannot escape the results of past actions, they can always choose better actions right now. In this way, even a person born into difficult circumstances can create a beautiful future through their present choices. Part 3. The moral logic of cause and effect. The way actions and their results work follows a clear pattern. This pattern is like the laws of nature. It does not change based on who you are or what you want. Actions that come from a pure heart create good results. When you act with love for all beings, you plant seeds of happiness. When you think clearly and see truth, your actions bring peace. When you give without wanting anything back, you create more abundance in your life. Actions that come from darkness create suffering. When you act from greed, you plant seeds of loss. When you hate others, you create pain for yourself. When you lie or hurt others, you bring confusion and harm into your own future. This is not about God punishing bad people and rewarding good people. It works like fire burns and water flows. Fire always burns, water always flows down. In the same way, selfish actions always create suffering. Kind actions always create joy. The results always match the action. Small good deeds bring small good results. Big good deeds bring big good results. If you plant one seed of kindness, you get one flower of happiness. If you plant many seeds of kindness, you get a garden of happiness. Nothing you do is ever lost. Every thought counts. Every word matters. Every action creates a result somewhere in time. Even if you do not see the result today, it will come. This is certain like sunrise and sunset. If you hurt someone, that hurt will return to you in the right measure. If you help someone, that help will return to you in the right measure. The timing may be different, but the return is sure. Part 4. The Doer versus the Enjoyer of Results. The Doer versus the Enjoyer of Results. Listen carefully to this truth about your life. You are two things at the same time. You are the one who acts, and you are the one who receives what comes from old actions. These are different roles, and understanding them brings wisdom. When you are the doer, you have choice. Right now, in this moment, you can decide what to think, what to say, what to do. You can choose to speak with love or anger. You can choose to help or to harm. You can choose to work hard or be lazy. This choosing power is real. It belongs to you in the present moment. When you are the enjoyer, you receive what must come. The happiness that comes to you today may be from kindness you showed years ago. The trouble that comes to you now may be from mistakes you made in the past. You cannot stop these results from coming. They are like fruit that has grown ripe and must fall from the tree. This is why life feels both free and limited. You are free when you act today. You are bound when you receive what yesterday's actions created. Both are true at the same time. Many people get confused about this. When bad things happen, they think they have no power. When they want something and cannot get it, they feel helpless. This is wrong thinking. You cannot control what fruit comes from old seeds. But you can always plant new seeds. If someone hurts you because of your past actions, you still choose how to respond. You can respond with anger and plant seeds of more hurt. Or you can respond with patience and plant seeds of peace. The hurt you receive was fixed, but your response is free. A wise person knows both sides. They accept what comes from the past without fighting it. They use their present choices carefully. They do not waste time wishing old results were different. Instead, they focus on making today's actions pure and good. This is the secret of living well. Take responsibility for your choices today. Accept what comes from yesterday's choices. Keep planting good seeds. The garden of your life will slowly change. Part 5. Conditioned Fields and Creative Openings. Your life is like a field with 3 kinds of seeds working at the same time. The old seeds that are already growing are your Prarabdha karma. These came from actions you did in past lives. You cannot stop these seeds from growing. They decide where you are born, what body you get, what family you have, and many big events that happen to you. While these old seeds grow around you, you are also planting new seeds every day. This is your Kriyamana karma. Every choice you make, every word you speak, every thought you think plants a new seed. These seeds go into your big storehouse called Sanchita karma. This storehouse holds all the seeds from all your actions across many lifetimes. The field of your life always has both things happening. You receive what was already planted before. At the same time, you plant what will grow later. You cannot change the old seeds that are growing now, but you can choose what new seeds to plant. Think of a farmer who inherits a field. The farmer cannot change what crops are already growing from last season. Those will give their harvest no matter what. But the farmer can decide what new seeds to plant in the empty spaces. The smart farmer works with what is already growing and chooses the new seeds carefully. Your birth family, your body, your basic nature, these come from old karma. They are like the weather and soil you inherit. You cannot change them. But within these conditions, you have space to make choices. You can respond to difficulties with anger or with wisdom. You can use your talents for selfish gain or to help others. The wise person sees both sides clearly. They do not waste energy fighting against what comes from old karma. They accept it and work within it. They put all their attention on making good choices today. They know that today's choices become tomorrow's circumstances. This is how you are both bound and free. The starting conditions bind you. Your response to them frees you. The field keeps changing as old seeds finish growing and new ones begin. You are always both receiving old results and creating new causes. Soon we will see how this truth plays out on a great battlefield, where a warrior must choose between duty and desire while old karma brings him to a moment of crisis. Chapter 4. The Battlefield of Free Will. Part 1. Arjuna's Crisis as the Drama of Human Choice. Arjuna stood in his war chariot between two great armies, ready to fight. He looked across the battlefield and saw his teachers, his cousins, his friends, and his family members on both sides. These were people he loved and respected. Now he was supposed to kill them. His hands began to shake. His bow fell from his grip. His heart filled with sadness and fear. Arjuna said to Krishna, "I cannot fight this war. How can I kill my own relatives? How can I kill my teachers, who taught me everything I know? Even if I win this war, what good will come from it? I will be happy ruling a kingdom built on the blood of my family." Arjuna sat down in his chariot and threw away his weapons. "I will not fight," he said. "It is better for me to die than to kill these good people. Let them kill me instead. I will not raise my hand against them." Krishna looked at Arjuna and saw his pain. Arjuna was trapped between what he was born to do as a warrior and what his heart told him was right. His family taught him to be brave and fight for justice, but his emotions told him that killing family members was wrong. His mind showed him terrible pictures of what would happen after the war. This was not just Arjuna's problem. Every person faces times when they must choose between different duties. Sometimes what your family expects conflicts with what feels right in your heart. Sometimes doing your job means hurting people you care about. Sometimes following rules means going against your feelings. Arjuna's struggle shows how hard it can be to make the right choice when there is no clear answer. He had to choose between fighting and running away. Both choices seemed wrong to him. Both would cause pain and suffering. This is when real wisdom becomes most important. When easy answers do not exist, when every choice has problems, this is when a person must find deeper truth to guide their actions. Part 2. Self as Friend and Enemy. Inner Responsibility. When Arjuna faced his terrible choice on the battlefield, Krishna taught him something very important. He said the self can be its own best friend or its own worst enemy. Each person has the power to lift themselves up or bring themselves down. Krishna explained that a person who wins over their own mind becomes their own friend, but a person who cannot control their mind becomes their own enemy. The mind that is not controlled will fight against the person like an enemy fights in war. This teaching means something very important about being free to choose. It means we cannot always blame other people or our family history or bad luck for what happens to us. Yes, these things affect us. Yes, they make life harder. But inside each person is a power to choose how to think and how to act. Even when outside things cannot be changed, the inside can still be changed. A person cannot always choose what happens to them, but they can choose how to respond to what happens. They can choose to be angry or to be calm. They can choose to give up or to keep trying. They can choose to hate or to forgive. Krishna taught that this inner choice is real. It's not just pretending. When a person changes their attitude, when they use good judgment, when they decide to do what is right even when it is hard, they change their whole life experience. The same situation can become completely different based on how the mind approaches it. This is why Krishna said the disciplined person becomes free even while living in the world. They are not free from all problems, but they are free from being controlled by their reactions to problems. They become the master of their own mind instead of being its slave. The person who understands this truth stops wasting time blaming others. They stop feeling helpless. They realize they have real power to change their experience by changing their inner attitude and choosing their actions more carefully. Part 3. Doership, Ego, and the Range of Freedom. Doership, Ego, and the Range of Freedom. When a person feels, I am the doer, they have some freedom to choose. This feeling of being the one who acts creates both problems and possibilities. It creates problems because the person gets attached to results. They worry about success and failure. They feel proud when things go well and feel sad when things go badly. This attachment causes suffering, but this same feeling of being the doer also gives the person power to make choices. Without thinking, I can do this or I should not do that, no one would try to be good or avoid being bad. The sense of being the one who acts is needed for making right and wrong choices. Krishna teaches that people are shaped by their past actions and the 3 Gunas. These forces push people in certain directions. Past habits make some choices feel natural and others feel difficult. The Gunas create different moods and tendencies. A person born with certain qualities will find some paths easier than others. Even with all these forces working on them, people still have some space to choose. The choices may be limited. The person may feel strong pressure to act in certain ways. But they are not completely helpless. They can still decide between the options they can see. Think of someone standing in a narrow hallway. They cannot go in every direction. The walls limit their movement, but they can still choose whether to walk forward or backward. They can choose to walk fast or slow. They can choose to be kind or rude to people they meet. The hallway shapes their experience, but it does not control every small decision. This is how human freedom works according to the scriptures. Past karma creates the hallway. Present gunas affect the mood. But the conscious self can still make choices within these limits. Each small choice slowly changes the shape of future hallways. The wise person understands this balance. They do not blame everything on fate. They also do not think they control everything. They focus on making the best choices possible in their current situation. They work to expand their freedom gradually by choosing wisely again and again. Part 4. Purushartha. Self-effort against conditioning. Purushartha, self-effort against conditioning. The scriptures teach that humans are different from animals in one important way. Animals follow their nature without question. A lion hunts because it must hunt. A bird builds nests because it cannot do otherwise. They live by instinct alone. They cannot step back and ask if their actions are right or wrong. But humans have something special. We can watch our own thoughts. We can question our desires. We can choose to act against our first impulse. This ability makes us responsible for our choices. The wise ones call this special human effort Purushartha. This means the power to strive and work on ourselves. It is not just any effort. It is the effort to become better than we were yesterday. Every person is born with certain tendencies. Some are quick to anger. Others are naturally kind. Some love to learn. Others prefer to rest. These tendencies come from past actions and family patterns. They are like seeds planted in the mind. But having these seeds does not mean we must let them grow wild. A gardener can choose which plants to water and which weeds to pull. In the same way, we can choose which thoughts to feed and which habits to starve. The scriptures give us tools for this inner work. Meditation helps us watch our thoughts without being pushed around by them. Repeating sacred words purifies the mind. Serving others weakens selfish desires. Study of holy books gives us wisdom to see clearly. These practices work slowly but surely. They change the patterns in our mind. Old habits of anger can become new habits of patience. Greed can transform into giving. Fear can grow into courage. This is why the ancient texts say that what we made, we can unmake. The same mind that created bad habits can create good ones. The same will that chose wrongly before can learn to choose rightly now. This makes humans special among all creatures. We are not prisoners of our past. We are gardeners of our future. Part 5. What man made, he can unmake. The holy books teach us that whatever chains we have made for ourselves, we can break them too. This is the great promise given to all human beings. The same force that created our problems can solve them. The same mind that built bad habits can build good ones. A person trapped in drinking too much alcohol did not become this way in one day. Many small choices led to this trap. But the same law works the other way. Many small good choices can lead them out. Each time they say no to the bottle, they make their will stronger. Each time they choose water over wine, they change their future path. The angry person was not born with fire in their heart. Their anger grew from many moments of choosing rage over peace. But they can choose differently now. When someone hurts them, they can pause and breathe. They can think of their pain instead of striking back. Drop by drop, anger turns into understanding. Step by step, hatred becomes love. The person who uses their gifts only for themselves can learn to serve others. The smart one can teach children instead of cheating people. The strong one can protect the weak instead of bullying them. The rich one can feed the hungry instead of hoarding gold. This is not easy, but it is possible. The same law that made the chains can break them. This is karma used wisely. We do not have to accept our bad patterns forever. The person who stole yesterday can give today. The one who lied before can speak truth now. The one who hurt others can heal them instead. Every moment offers a new choice. Every breath brings a chance to change direction. This makes humans different from all other creatures. We can look at ourselves and say, "This pattern serves me badly. I will make a new one." The work takes time. Old habits fight back like wild animals. But each good choice makes the next one easier. Each step toward light makes the darkness weaker. What we created wrongly, we can create rightly. Part 6. Scholarly Reflections. Karma Without Fatalism. Great teachers from many schools of thought have studied the laws of karma for thousands of years. They all reach the same important conclusion. Karma cannot work without some real choice in human beings. If everything was already fixed, then good and bad actions would mean nothing. The whole idea of right and wrong would fall apart. Think about it this way. If a person had no choice at all, why would past bad actions create suffering? Why would good actions bring happiness? The entire system only makes sense if people can actually choose between different paths. Without real choice, karma becomes like a machine that crushes people for no reason. The wise teachers explain that karma is not the same as fate. Fate means everything is already written and nothing can change. But karma means our past choices create strong pushes towards certain outcomes, while still leaving room for new choices. The river flows in one direction, but we can still steer our boat within that current. Different schools argue about how much freedom people really have. Some say we have many choices every day. Others say the choices are very small, but still real. A few believe that most people have little freedom, but those who practice spiritual disciplines can gain much more. Even those who see the smallest amount of freedom agree that without it, the whole spiritual path would be meaningless. Why would anyone meditate, pray, or try to become better if nothing they did could change anything? Why would teachers give instruction if students could not learn and grow? The very fact that people can transform themselves through practice proves that some door remains open even when many others are closed by past actions. This understanding prepares us to see how divine grace works with human effort to open even wider possibilities for those who seek the highest truth. Chapter 5. Transcendence, Beyond Genetics, Environment, and Choice. Part 1. Divine Grace as a Disruptive Variable. When a soul cries out in true longing for truth, something wonderful can happen. The ancient texts speak of divine grace called Kripa. This grace flows like a river from the divine heart to those who seek with pure hearts. Grace does not follow the normal rules of karma. A person may have done many wrong things in past lives. Their karma should make them suffer for long ages. But when grace touches them, all this can change in one moment. The heavy load of past actions burns away like dry grass in fire. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us about this mystery. Krishna tells Arjuna that those who surrender everything to the divine will be freed from all sins. Even the worst sinner who turns to God with complete devotion becomes pure very quickly. Many saints show us how grace works. Valmiki was a robber who hurt innocent people. His karma was very dark. But when he met the sage Narada and began to chant God's name, grace changed everything. He became the great poet who wrote the Ramayana. Another example is Ajamila. This man lived a very bad life. He cheated people and broke all moral rules. When death came, he called out the name of his son Narayana, which is also God's name. Just speaking this holy name brought divine mercy. The messengers of death had to leave him alone. Grace comes to those who truly want to know truth more than anything else. It flows to hearts that have given up pride and selfishness. When someone bows down completely before the divine and says, "I cannot do this alone, please help me," grace begins to work. This divine mercy can melt away patterns that seemed impossible to change. Old habits that bind the mind like iron chains become loose. The soul that seemed trapped in anger, greed, or fear suddenly finds freedom. Grace makes the science of karma more mysterious. We cannot say that everything happens only because of past actions. The divine love can step in and change everything when the heart is ready to receive it. Part 2. The Dissolution of the I and the End of Karma. When someone walks the path of truth for many years, something strange happens. The sense of "I am doing this" begins to fade away. The person who once felt proud of good actions and ashamed of bad actions starts to see that everything happens by itself. In the deepest teaching, all karma belongs only to the false idea of being a separate person. When this false idea melts away like ice in the sun, there is no one left to collect the results of actions. Actions still happen through the body and mind, but there is no owner of these actions. The awakened one sees that the body walks, the mouth speaks, and the mind thinks, but knows I am not the doer of any of this. It is like watching a movie. Characters in the movie seem to make choices and face results, but the screen on which the movie plays is never touched by what happens in the story. From this highest view, both the idea that everything is fixed and the idea that we have complete choice belong to the dream state. When someone wakes up from sleep, they do not worry about whether the dream person had freedom or was controlled by fate. Both questions become meaningless. This does not mean that right and wrong disappear. In the world of forms, actions still create results. Kindness still brings peace, and cruelty still brings pain. But the ultimate freedom exists beyond all these patterns. It is the freedom of pure awareness itself, which was never born and never bound by any condition. The one who knows this truth acts without attachment to results, like a skilled actor who plays a role perfectly, but never forgets they are not really the character. This is the final answer to all questions about freedom and bondage. Part 3. Spirit's Essence as Freedom. Spirit's Essence as Freedom. The deepest truth taught in our holy books says that your real nature is pure freedom. This freedom is not something you gain or lose. It is what you truly are. Your body changes and grows old. Your mind thinks different thoughts each day. Your feelings come and go like clouds in the sky. But the one who watches all these changes never changes. This watcher is your true self. This watcher is completely free. The scriptures say this inner self is like the sun. The sun gives light to everything, but needs no light from anything else. In the same way, your true self gives awareness to all your thoughts and feelings, but is never touched by them. It shines by its own light. This true self was never born from your parents. It did not come from the food your mother ate or the books you read. It is not made of any material thing. Because it is not made of matter, nothing material can bind it or limit it. But there is another part of you that everyone can see. This is your personality, your habits, your way of speaking and thinking. This part is clearly shaped by many things. The family you were born into affects how you think. The place where you grew up changes how you act. The food you eat and the air you breathe influence your mood and health. The wise teachers explain that both these truths exist together. At one level, you are a person whose life is shaped by countless forces. You inherit tendencies from past lives. You are influenced by the culture around you. Your thoughts and actions create patterns that continue into the future. At this everyday level, you must take responsibility for your choices. You cannot blame everything on your circumstances. Within the conditions given to you, you can still choose to be kind or cruel, honest or dishonest, patient or angry. But at the deepest level, there exists a self that was never conditioned by anything. This self is pure consciousness. It is the space in which all experiences happen. Just as space is never stained by what moves through it, this inner self is never stained by any experience. This creates what seems like a puzzle. How can you be both conditioned and completely free? The answer lies in understanding that these are different levels of truth, like looking at water from above and below the surface. Part 4. Environmental and Social Action as Karmic Rewriting. Environmental and social action as karmic rewriting. When we harm our earth, we plant seeds of suffering for all beings. When we take care of nature and treat others fairly, we plant seeds of happiness for everyone. This is how karma works, not just for one person, but for whole communities and the world. Every action we take affects the web of life. When we cut down forests without thinking, pollute rivers, or use up resources selfishly, we create bad karma that comes back to hurt everyone. The floods, droughts, and diseases that follow are the fruits of these harmful seeds we planted together. But when we protect the earth, when we share resources fairly, when we care for the poor and weak, we create good karma for all. Clean air, healthy soil, and peaceful communities grow from these good seeds we plant together. Karma teaches us that what we do today shapes what happens tomorrow. This does not mean we should sit quietly and do nothing. It means we should act with great care and wisdom. Every choice we make is like planting a seed. We must ask ourselves, what kind of harvest do we want? A person who truly understands karma does not become lazy or hopeless. Instead, they become very careful about their actions. They know that even small acts of kindness or cruelty create big results over time. When we see suffering in the world, karma does not tell us to ignore it and say it was meant to be. Instead, it tells us that this suffering came from harmful actions in the past, and we can prevent future suffering by acting with love and wisdom now. This understanding makes us responsible for the whole world, not just for ourselves. Our duty is to leave the earth better than we found it. Part 5. The Integrated Hindu Answer to the Question. The integrated Hindu answer to the question. Human actions in Hindu thought are both bound and free at the same time. This is not a contradiction, but a deep truth about how life works. We are born with certain tendencies that we carry from past lives. These are like seeds planted long ago that now grow into our present nature. Just as a person born into a poor family faces different challenges than someone born into wealth, our karmic inheritance gives us certain starting points. We cannot choose our beginning conditions any more than we can choose our parents or the color of our eyes. Our surroundings also shape us greatly. The family that raises us, the society we live in, and the times we are born into all push and pull our minds in certain directions. A child raised with violence learns different lessons than a child raised with love. These forces are real and powerful. They create the circumstances within which we must act. Yet within these inherited patterns and surrounding influences, we still have genuine choice. This choice shows itself through Purushartha, our ability to make conscious effort toward good goals. Even if we are born with anger in our nature, we can choose to practice patience. Even if we grew up in darkness, we can choose to seek light. The key is understanding that our freedom works within limits, not outside them. A bird in a cage is not free to fly anywhere, but it can still choose where to perch and whether to sing. Our karmic inheritance and life circumstances are like the cage, but our will and intention are like the bird's ability to move and choose within that space. This creates what Hindu wisdom calls a middle path. We are neither completely controlled by forces beyond us, nor completely free to do anything we want. We are conditioned, but not helpless. We inherit tendencies, but can transform them through sustained effort and right action. The divine grace that comes through devotion and surrender adds another layer to this picture. Sometimes the normal rules of cause and effect are changed by this mysterious force. A person who should suffer greatly finds peace. Someone who seems hopeless suddenly awakens to truth. Grace can burn away vast amounts of old karma or soften the hardest heart. At the deepest level, Hindu teaching points to something even more profound. When a person truly realizes their essential nature, they discover that the one who seemed bound by karma was never real in the first place. The separate self that worries about being free or determined dissolves into pure awareness. In this state, the question of freedom versus control no longer applies because there is no individual left to be either bound or free. This ultimate insight does not destroy the practical world where we must still make choices and face results. Instead, it shows that freedom and responsibility operate on different levels at the same time. At the practical level, we work skillfully with our conditioning while taking full responsibility for our actions. At the absolute level, we rest in the understanding that consciousness itself was never bound by anything. This teaching offers neither false comfort nor crushing despair. It does not tell us that everything is predetermined and nothing matters. It also does not promise that we can become anything we want just by wishing. Instead, it gives us a wise and realistic path forward. Part 6. Living with the Paradox, Practical Implications. Living with the Paradox, Practical Implications. This understanding changes how we live each day. When we wake up in the morning, we accept the body we were born with. We accept the family we came from. We accept the mind we received. This is not giving up. This is being wise. The Gita teaches us that a wise person does not waste time feeling sorry for themselves. They do not blame their parents or their past lives. They start from where they are right now. But accepting our starting point does not mean we stop trying. The same holy text tells us to work on ourselves every day. We can train our minds. We can build good habits. We can break bad patterns. This takes daily effort and discipline. Sometimes we work hard but do not see the results we want. The wise person keeps acting in the right way anyway. They know that good actions create good effects, even if they cannot see when or how this will happen. We also stay open to receiving help from divine grace. We pray. We surrender our efforts to God. We remain humble. Sometimes unexpected blessings come that change everything quickly. Most importantly, we try to know our true self better. We study. We meditate. We ask deep questions about who we really are beyond our body and mind. Every situation we face came from choices we made before. But every situation is also a chance to make new, better choices now. When someone treats us badly, this may be the result of how we treated others in the past. But how we respond right now plants new seeds for the future. This teaching does not make us give up. it makes us more powerful. We understand that we are both receiving the effects of past actions and creating the causes of future experiences. This makes every moment important. We do not wait for perfect conditions to start living well. We use whatever conditions we have right now to practice wisdom, kindness, and self-control. This is how the doctrine of karma becomes a path of strength rather than weakness. Chapter 6, Epilogue, The Ongoing Dance of Karma and Choice, Part 1, Revisiting the Question in Light of the Journey. When we began this journey, we asked whether our actions spring from genetics, environment, or choice. Now we must see these through the lens of dharma and karma. What we once called genetics reveals itself as our karmic inheritance made flesh. The body and mind we carry are not random gifts from nature, but the crystallized results of countless past actions. Our gunas, our natural tendencies, our strengths and weaknesses all emerge from seeds we ourselves have planted. The environment that shapes us is not mere circumstance, but Prarabdha karma in motion. The family we enter, the culture we breathe, the challenges that find us are all part of a vast web of cause and effect. Yet, this is not a prison, but a field where our past meets our present choices. And choice itself transforms before our eyes. It is not the Western idea of unlimited freedom, but Purushartha, the soul's power to act with purpose even within the bounds of karma. Every moment we face the dance between what we inherit and what we decide to do with that inheritance. These three forces do not compete, but weave together like threads in cloth. Our karmic past shapes the body and mind we use to choose. Our choices reshape our karma and alter the circumstances we will face. The environment provides both the stage and the props for this eternal play of consciousness. The question was never which force determines our fate, but how they work as one movement. In this vision, we are neither completely free nor completely bound, but participants in an ancient conversation between destiny and will. Part 2. Human Stories as Karmic Epics. Human stories unfold as great tales written in the language of karma and choice. Each life reads like an ancient epic, where past actions meet present decisions in endless dance. When we look at families, we see patterns flowing like rivers through generations. The angry father shapes his children, but each child chooses how to carry or transform that anger. The mother's fears become seeds in young minds. Yet those minds can grow wisdom or repeat old sorrows. Nations, too, live their karmic stories. One country conquers another, and both carry the weight of that meeting for centuries. Yet in each generation, people can choose war or peace, hatred or healing. The past creates the stage, but each actor decides their part. When strangers meet by chance on a crowded street and later marry, we call it accident. When old enemies become friends, we call it miracle. But Hindu wisdom sees these meetings as streams of karma crossing at the right moment. Past lives created the conditions. Present choices make the outcome. A child born into poverty faces different tests than one born to wealth. Both inherit their starting places through karmic law. The poor child may struggle with hunger, while the rich child battles loneliness. Each must work with what they receive. The poor child can choose bitterness or gratitude. The rich child can choose selfishness or service. Understanding this brings both compassion and responsibility. We see why others act as they do, knowing their burdens and gifts came from long ago. Yet we hold them accountable for their responses today. The thief who steals bread may have good reason, but stealing remains his choice. The generous person who gives freely may have learned kindness through suffering, but giving remains her choice. Every family drama becomes a sacred story of souls teaching each other. Every war becomes a classroom for learning about power and mercy. Every friendship becomes a chance for two karmic streams to create something new together. This vision changes how we read human events. Random becomes meaningful. Unfair becomes educational. Hopeless becomes workable. Each person carries both the weight of yesterday and the freedom of tomorrow. Part 3. From Explanation to Transformation. Understanding karmic patterns is merely the first step. The true purpose lies in transformation. Knowledge without change remains hollow. You carry both inherited tendencies and present choices. Your family patterns are not prison walls, but training grounds. Your difficult nature is not a permanent curse, but a workable challenge. Your past mistakes are not final verdicts, but learning materials. Look honestly at your life. Where do you blame your genes for anger or fear? Where do you blame your upbringing for limitations? Where do you blame circumstances for staying stuck? These excuses feel comfortable, but they steal your power. Your father's temper lives in your blood. Your mother's worry runs through your thoughts. Your childhood trauma shapes your reactions. These are real forces, but they are not absolute rulers. They are karmic materials waiting for conscious work. Even small changes matter. Speaking kindly when anger rises rewrites old patterns. Choosing courage when fear whispers creates new pathways. Acting generously when selfishness pulls opens fresh possibilities. Time becomes your ally in this work. Each right choice builds strength. Each conscious response weakens old habits. Each moment of awareness plants seeds for future freedom. The person trapped by family patterns can gradually break free. The soul bound by genetic tendencies can slowly transcend them. The mind caught in environmental conditioning can eventually rise above it. This requires patience and faith. Change happens slowly. Old patterns fight back. Progress feels invisible for long periods, but persistence always wins. Your current limitations are not your final story. Your present struggles are not your permanent identity. Your inherited burdens are not your eternal destiny. Every sunrise brings fresh choice. Every breath carries new possibility. Every heartbeat offers another chance to respond differently than before. Part 4. The Open-Ended Story of the Soul. The Open-Ended Story of the Soul. Your soul's story has no final chapter. It continues across many lifetimes. Each moment brings two things together. First comes the old momentum from past actions. Second comes fresh possibility in the present moment. These two forces meet in every choice you make. The Hindu teachings tell us something powerful. No person is forever trapped by their birth body. No soul remains forever stuck because of bad surroundings. As long as you can think and feel, you can change. As long as awareness exists, growth remains possible. You can act with more wisdom. You can show more kindness. You can find more freedom. Your body may carry certain tendencies from birth. Your family may have passed down difficult patterns. Your surroundings may push you in certain directions. But none of these forces have the final word. They shape the starting point of each choice. They do not decide the ending. Think of your life as a long story that spans many births. In this story, each chapter builds on what came before. But each new page offers room for surprise. Each new scene allows for different responses. The character you play today grew from yesterday's actions. But tomorrow's character can grow beyond today's limitations. This creates both challenge and hope. The challenge is real. Old patterns resist change. Deep conditioning fights back against new choices. Progress happens slowly and often invisibly. Years may pass before you see clear transformation. But the hope is equally real. Every dawn opens fresh possibilities. Every decision point offers multiple paths. Every conscious breath creates space between old habit and new response. You are never completely powerless. You are never permanently fixed. Your current struggles do not define your eternal nature. Your present limitations do not seal your future destiny. Your inherited burdens do not determine your final freedom. The soul's journey continues. The story remains unfinished. And in that ongoing tale, your choices matter more than any force trying to control them.